Hello, my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video, which is a continuation of my Around the World flight series. The last one I did of this was about, well, it was over a year ago, would you believe? So I thought it was high time that I continue this series. This one has a bit of a twist in the tail. It's going to be quite a relaxing flight, but yeah, there's a couple of challenges coming up with this particular flight. And we're also going to be flying the Grand Caravan. So let's not hesitate. Let's get on with the video. Starting off from the main menu, I'm on the Series S using a gamepad, mouse and my Velocity 1 to fly. Let's go to world map. We're going to take off from the runway we landed at last time, which is Villaroche. So we're just going to click there. Let's zoom to details. And runway 10 at Villaroche, or runway 10 set as departure, Villaroche. There we go, we'll zoom out. I have noticed sometimes my Xbox has been playing up since the patch on the world map for some reason. Let's just see if it does it here. Go to Frankfurt, EDDF, and set as arrival. There we go. That's behaved this time. It's actually runway. I'm going to show you something here. It's runway 07 right. So runway 7 right we want to land at Frankfurt. So we can actually choose that from here. If you click that, it will zoom you in over the airport and you can just select it there, set as arrival. Just a quicker way of doing things rather than zooming in and out. The only other thing we're going to do in this flight is go to Luxemburg and just left click and add that as a kind of waypoint. We are going to land at Luxemburg. Now, here's the challenge of the flight. We're going to go down to our More button down here. Open filters. I've shown a video before on how to do this. Actually, I'll link that in the top right for you about various features of the world map and etc. Go to Nav Aids and turn that on. Close. And if we zoom in to Luxemburg, you'll see these boxes have now appeared on the map. These are the sort of ILS frequencies. Now, here's the thing. With some airports, some of the ILS frequencies are in front of the runway, and some of them are behind it. So to land at runway, we want to land at runway 6 here at Luxembourg. The ILS is this one here, just behind it, ILE. And I've done this by trial or error. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to take a note. I've done this already. But take a note of the frequency that pops up to the right in that little box here. Nav aid box. See the frequency, for those who may not be doing this, who are flying with me. Frequency is 109.900. 109.900. That's the ILS frequency for runway 6 at Luxembourg. And yeah, there's a challenge coming up with that first airport, so be prepared for that. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to do the same for Frankfurt. So I'm going to left click EDDF, zoom to details. And again, the ILS frequency for runway 7 right is behind it. So one behind the airport, IFSE. Because I'm going to left click on that box. And to the right of that, it will show me the frequency 110.950. 110.950, that's the ILS frequency to land at runway 7 right. So there you go. So with all that set up, by the way, I've not mentioned it yet. This flight, even though I'm recording it as usual, and then I'm going to edit it and release it later, I've got a few people flying with me from the Discord. I'm going to bring them in a moment once we spawn on the runway. Okay, so with that all set up, let's go fly. Okay, so we're on runway 10, runway 10 at Villaroche. And as you can see, we've got a few of the merry men joining us for this flight. A few people from Discord, which is great to see. Both on Xbox and PC. Chaps, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Okay, I'll start. I'm Yolak345, known as Hugh and Waterboy.
I'm Mark. Don't ask me why 121.
I'm Jack Custard.
I'm Stevie Boy.
Disco Dave 50.
Thanks very much, chaps. Now, what I'm going to do for the viewers at home, people watching this, I'm going to mainly chat to yourselves, and then I'll bring the people back in later on during the flight. So what we'll do first, I don't know if you're all familiar with the Grand Caravan, but the Alt selector to increase your autopilot altitude is in the middle section right here. So we're going to first set our autopilot assigned altitude to 3,400 feet. So I'm just doing that in my aircraft now. 3,500 feet for this first leg, which is fine. Also comes in flaps 1 configuration by default, the Grand Caravan, so we don't need flaps on this runway. I'm going to take them up because I often forget them. I'm just going to throttle up, chaps, and release the parking brake, and we should be off. So for the viewers at home, this is going to be, for people watching this video, this is just going to be a nice, relaxing around-the-world flights, like my other around-the-world flights videos. There's going to be 1 or 2 tips thrown in there. There we are. Well above takeoff speed. Powerhouse, the Grand Caravan. I'm just going to press autopilot and my nav key. I've got them set up on my velocity 1. And we should climb to our 3,500 feet. And I'll just bring back my throttle. Like I said, it's a powerhouse, the Grand Caravan, so you really have to bring that throttle a bit so you don't get that flashing red. And you'll see the prop. Let me just get my mouse. I am on the Series S, like I've mentioned. You'll see this sort of prop flash as well. You can bring that back if you've got prop assigned to your controls. Just bring it back slightly and you'll find that your speed will increase as well. And you'll get rid of that flashing red warning with the prop. And that's all fun. So a few topics to speak about. Well, the first one, somehow I managed to get coronavirus. Yeah, first day of coronavirus. I thought I was going to miss it. I mean, it's been a couple of years now, hasn't it, since it's been around? I thought I was going to miss it entirely, but nope. I've got it. I have flow tests at home. Basically, my main job is to do with health and safety. So I have to test myself because I work in certain vulnerable places, shall we say. So I did a test at home. I didn't feel too well. I've got a headache and backache, but no flu symptoms, no real cold symptoms, which is interesting. I hope they don't develop. But yeah, first day of quarantine. I guess it's my time to get it. But quite a few of the staff where I work have it as well. That's more concerning, but that's by the by. That's not the business of the flight. And this flight, let's just pop outside. We're all up in the air. Busy area. I've got the world update installed for France. We're flying over France at the moment on our way to Luxemburg. And then from Luxemburg to Frankfurt, with the world updates and with them updated, which took me a while as well. Looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this is on the Xbox Series S, and look at that. Wonderful. And while I'm on that subject, that matter, somebody did mention in one of the comments recently that, you know, you should play Flight Sim on PC. You get better graphics and better performance and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's true for a lot of things. When you're in sort of rural areas like this and world update areas, typically, as you can see... Oh, bank of cloud, I've got it on live weather as well. And sod's law, Murphy's law, it's now cloudy. It was clear the last times I've flown this flight. Never mind, we should break through this cloud. As you can see, this looks on par with my PC experience, no doubt. No doubt. You get into one or two busier areas and then it has trouble rendering and the sort of draw distance isn't quite as good, but yeah. If I didn't have my Xbox beside me, that would be me thinking that I'm actually flying on my PC. Lovely. So there you go. Yeah, so we did this flight last week with a couple of willing volunteers who flew along with me. And I was recording it with Shadowplay or GeForce Experience. And little did I know that my hard drive, I recorded it stupidly on my C drive, my main drive, which is only a small hard drive. It filled up. So we got to Luxemburg and then, yeah, the recording cut out. So I'm recording this now with OBS with revised settings. I've tested this and it does look good with the settings I have. Hopefully this will come through in the main recording. Well, yeah, this is OBS and it records at a fraction of the hard drive space. Hopefully. But I'm also recording it on my main drive, my sort of terabyte drive, so we should be okay there. Fingers crossed. But yeah, sorry to Chunzi, and I can't remember the other guy who flew along with us now. Oh, what? But a couple of people flew along with us, and Steve Chunzi and another name which will come to me eventually. Yeah, apologies, but this is Mark II. And you both enjoyed that flight anyway. Isn't it stunning? Absolutely gorgeous scenery. Beautiful. This is it. Nice, relaxing flight. Okay, I'll get onto the other subjects later. I'm going to start... Can you unmute yourselves in Discord, chaps? Let me just double check. Yep, you're all unmuted. That's great. Yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to set up our nav radios. I'm pretty sure you're all familiar on how to do this, but it's on your left G1000, the nav knob to the left there. You've got an inner knob and outer knob. We're going to set our first nav, so our first frequency, to Luxemburg, which is 109. So the inner knob on the nav wheel, you want to move that down to 109. You'll see next to the N, numbers moving. Are you all okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
109.
Yep.
Great. 109.90. By the way, quite an interesting factor. This is like the Logitech radio panel where it's only got two numbers after. So the Cessna Grand Caravan nav radio is very similar to the way the Logitech radio panel is, where it's only got two numbers after the dot. So there you go, I've set it to 109.90. Something I didn't mention before, I'll mention it now. I'm going to put that on active, so I'm going to swap nav key next to your nav knob. I'm going to click on that, and that's now our active nav, 109.90. Something I didn't mention before, but you've got little letters that will appear in the Grand Caravan after that nav, after that active nav. So when we draw closer to Luxemburg, just here, for those watching at home, on my where my mouse is, you'll see three letters come up, ILE. That's when you know you're locked on to the Luxembourg, or you're within range, which will typically, we're about 133 kilometers out now. It'll typically be about 25-30 kilometers out. You'll start to see those letters appear. And it's a good indication. It's great in that sense. I don't know if everybody knew that, but you do get those little letters appearing after the number, and I'll show you that later. You'll probably get letters appearing throughout the flight because a lot of runways use similar frequencies, and if that happens, I'll come down and draw that to your attention. Okay, thank you, chaps. Thank you very much. Right, so what we're going to do now... Let's get back into the external view to give you some of those lovely, beautiful scenery. Beautiful scenery. Oh, what I'm also going to do, chaps, I'm also going to go back into the cockpit. So let's get back in the cockpit first. Oh, I tell you what, if you just unmute yourselves again for a second, because some of you may not know this. There we are. On the right G1000, you've got that sort of range circle. If you don't have a range circle, mine's showing 2.5 nautical miles, just go to your menu and map settings. Just press your enter button there. Has everybody got that range circle, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, it doesn't matter. I'll show people at home anyway. You'll go to map settings, press your enter button, and then you just use your inner FMS knob. I'm going to use my mouse to scroll down once. Scroll up once. To orientation. If it's not on north up, you won't get that range circle. So typically, let me just see. I think it's normally on heading up. Like that. That's where you probably have it, on heading up. Just switch it to north up, and then you'll get that range circle. So we can clear that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to increase that range circle. Mouse up. Mouse up to 50 nautical miles, and we'll decrease that once we get nearer to Luxemburg. At 50 nautical miles range, you should just be able to see Luxemburg, ELLX, to the far right. So there we are. Okay, thank you again, chaps. Sorry to mess you around. You are getting paid for this, of course.
Right.
Okay, yeah, so I've had a bit of an adventure with Flight Sim over the past few weeks. You probably saw the video that I couldn't install mods. So I went to Steam, checked the integrity, or verify the integrity of files I should have learnt the first time. And basically my Flight Sim uninstalled, so I had to reinstall it. For whatever reason, with my PC, Flight Sim takes an age to download. It took me 32 hours to download on my PC. Bit of a nightmare, but then I've got a... yeah, so that was a bit of a nightmare. So avoid doing that with Steam. Don't check the integrity or verify the integrity of files. I've done it twice and it's wiped Flight Simulator twice off my hard drive, so avoid doing that at all costs, would be my recommendation. And apart from that, I've got a new gaming laptop. Now, I'm likely going to be travelling later this year, even doing a project for a year or something in London. I'm not quite sure about that yet, but that's a big possibility. So I got a gaming laptop. I'm going to try and release a video of that this week. It's a 360 series laptop, which sounds impressive, and it is impressive, but the 360 laptop variant is not anywhere near as powerful as the desktop variant, so you have to keep that in mind. It's probably on par with something like a 2070, 2080, which is not bad, of course. And of course, laptop processors are not quite the same. Anyway, I downloaded Flight Sim on that laptop, and it took half the time. It took me about 15 hours. I just did it overnight. So I'm thinking I've probably got an old style Wi-Fi dongle in my PC, which, you know, means I'm getting slower downloads. So I'm going to have to upgrade that dongle, is my thinking, because my laptop's lightning fast, so could be the processor coming into play or hard drive, but I'm downloading it on similar drives in the PC, an NVMe drive, and the Xbox, of course. So I don't know, there you go. It took me half the time on the laptop. I have downloaded Flight Sim on there. It is quite impressive. Not quite as impressive as I was hoping it would be with a 3060. But it's higher resolution than I get on my PC and Series S, of course. And I can, you know, turn values up. And yeah, I basically got it purely to record videos when I'm not at home. I don't want to lug around my desktop PC. Anyway, I'll leave that laptop for the review. I won't spoil anything now. It's good, and when I do that video, it will also be advising people on the minimum specs you should be going for if you are looking for a laptop. Because I know a few people buy laptops, and they get surprised that they can't run Flight Sim as good as they hoped, simply because of the specs of the laptop. So yeah, that will be coming in the future. And have I gone through all my subjects already? That's not good. Okay. How far are we? 115 nautical miles out. So for those at home, that's Luxembourg coming up ahead of us. So yeah, a fair old range. What I'm going to do is just play with my prop again there. I'm just going to pull my prop out slightly. I should be able to increase... That should increase my RPM slightly, thus increasing my speed. Yeah, I'm at 164 knots. I can go a bit faster than that. Definitely go a bit faster than that. Let's just push my throttle in a bit further. I'm trying to get to about 170 knots, chaps, for those who are flying with me, without setting any alarms off in the aircraft. Is that increasing? Let's pull that prop out a bit further. There we go. That's as much as it wants to go to, I feel. That's fine. 166, 167 knots I'll be doing roughly. It might slowly increase to 170, but that's fine. Stevie Boy is flying a different aircraft, I think, there. From, if I remember, from the runway, which is fine. We just zoom in on that. Oh no, it's a Grand Caravan. Yeah, it is a Grand Caravan. It's okay. Lots of other people. Very popular route, this, whenever I fly it. Very popular route, and you can see why. I mean, look at the scenery we're passing below there. These wind farms, by the way, going right into Germany, are going to be a massive feature. I should give people a prize for how many wind farms we pass on the way there. There's hundreds of them. Pretty much when we get past Luxembourg into Germany, if my memory recalls, we had banks upon banks of wind farms, which is lovely to see. Lovely to see. There's a big thing about, you know, the sorts of English not liking wind farms in their back garden because it spoils the countryside view, but I just think that's irresponsible personally. There's plenty of space in the wider countryside to put them, but I believe they have to be a certain distance to the power generators, obviously, and goodness knows what. So yeah, anyway, that's a whole different subject. Political subjects I don't want to get involved with. Lots of people. Now, I wonder if there's more people. I'll just zoom in on this group. I think that these are with a different group. I don't know, it's difficult to tell. We'll find out, I guess, when we get to Luxembourg. I know there's people in voice chat, but there might be a couple more with us as well, which is great. Lovely. Okay, 105 nautical miles, 106. That's fine. Nice, peaceful jaunt. Okay, so probably time to speak about this now, and I don't think I discussed it properly with the people who are flying with me. We are indeed going to do a manual ILS. This is one of the challenges of the flight. A manual ILS into Luxembourg. Let me talk you through this. It's very similar to the video, I'll link it in the top right view, that we did with the Cessna 172. You're going to get very similar things. You're going to get a glide slope indicator here with the glide slope diamond, so the glide slope indicator, as I've just mentioned. A G come up here. We'll follow that down to the center. And of course, this line here, you can see this is one solid line at the moment. When we get nearer, so when that ILE pops up next to this active nav here, 109.90, when we get that, we'll switch the CDI button to lock 1, which will essentially mean it's on our nav 1. This purple line here, pink, cyan, this line here will be around here. So this centre line, centre section of this line will be around here. We're going to have to draw it in. What I tend to do, chaps, and I'm going to give you a heads up on this, I tend to go into heading mode. If you've got heading mode capabilities set up with your systems, I believe I do with my Xbox Series S on my Velocity one. I can give that a quick test. Yeah, I've got heading mode set up. So basically, I'll spring into heading mode and move my heading knob indicator, or heading indicator, that blue thing you can see moving there. Actually, I'll do it now. I'll put it towards the east. Engage heading mode and try and bring that, encourage that line. I'll talk you through it when we get there. Very similar to the Cessna 172. The difference is the Grand Caravan's a bit heavier. It's a lot more powerful, and you're going to have to watch your RPM, would be my suggestion. I believe flaps 1 speed, which is what, about 120-ish in the Grand Caravan? Flaps 1 speed is about 900, 1,000 RPM in level flights, so where your altitude's not going up or down, basically. It's around 900-1000 RPM, so that's a good way to gauge it. And ideally, while we're in heading mode, we'll get to flaps 1. And then we'll just follow the glide slope indicator. I've not practiced this for a week, so this should be interesting. Should be quite straightforward, like I said, very similar to the Cessna 172. Chaps in Discord, are you all okay with that, by the way? Do you want to discuss anything about that? Hello? They've all gone to the bloody toilets, haven't they?
No, as long as you
All good.
as long as you go through it as you approach, and just talk us through it, James. That'll be a big help.
Yeah, have you tried? Anybody tried manual ILS approaches yet in glass cockpits?
Yes.
Hugh showed me earlier how to do I did my first one earlier. Can I just ask a question, James? You know, when you were speaking about the nav frequency right at the beginning, I've never set that manually before.
Oh.
So what I changed it at the top. So should in the top left-hand corner of the left-hand screen,
Yeah.
should the 10990 be the first number or the second number
The
in the
second
nav?
number. Use
That's cool. I've got that right. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, and soon, within 60 nautical miles, we should see ILE. It's when you know you have it right. Come up beside that.
Cool.
So that should be okay. Yeah, it's very, very simple. It's just like following lines down, keeping yourself, you know, like I said, to get the line, so to get our horizontal line to come in, so confusing language, but our vertical line is that, to me it looks pink on my TV, is that pink line you can see in the left G1000.
Yeah.
So that's going to be to the right of us when we lock onto it. That centre section of it will be to the right. Just use heading mode to encourage it in to begin with, would be my suggestion. And once we've got that centred, and that G moves down to centre, that glide slope indicator moves to centre, that's when you take it off autopilot and follow it in.
Brilliant.
Right. Okay, so we're, what now? Ooh, 90, so we're slowly getting there. Good to see some weather. Me and Steve, and still can't remember his name, he's not going to forgive me. He didn't speak a lot through the flight, so that's possibly why. We did this and it was completely clear in live weather, so it's nice to see a bit of cloud cover. Are you all flying in live weather?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Live with a lifetime.
Right.
Mate.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see that, because it just got a bit boring after a while. It's just literally crystal clear skies. No clouds. I mean, we had one smatter of cloud somewhere through the flight. But I always think it adds atmosphere to flights. So there we go. What airports say we should see soon. Might be mistaken here, but from last time I did this, I did get letters coming up before we got to Luxemburg. Or that might... I'll tell you what we can do, chaps, while we're here. Why not? Because it makes it easier to do this. If we've got our active nav now, we might as well set up our standby for Frankfurt, which is 110, which is, or it should be on 110 already. Just use the inner knob, the outer knob rather, the little knob on your nav to get that down to 50. Actually saying that. Oh, sorry, to get that up to 95. My mistake, I was looking at the ramping. So 110.95. Is everybody following that? So your standby one in next it's the first number next to the N, basically. You all okay?
Yep. Got that.
095.
Yeah, so
Brilliant, yeah. So what we'll do, it just saves us later, so... Because it's funny, when you cycle through the navs, you probably all found this, but when you cycle through... so what we'll do later, we'll press the CDI button, put it on lock 1, which is nav 1. Press it again, because when we've landed, we have to put it back to GPS mode. Press it again to get to lock 2, and again to get back to GPS. It will stick on the last selected nav, which will be nav 2. So you won't be able to, unless you cycle through them again, you're not going to be able to change the numbers, so it's easier to do that now. I mean, there is a way, but this makes it less messy. You might as well get your standby and active set up now. You'll see that later, in fact. So there we go, we got some very stripy looking countryside. It's fascinating to me. You go through France into Luxembourg into Germany, and you got all different, and of course the UK, all different field types and agricultural methods and goodness knows what. I just find it fascinating to fly over. As you can see, very stripy. Looks like my kitchen lino, that. But very stripy looking land. Just turn my light on. Wonderful. Wonderful flight to do this at home, chaps. If you're watching this stream, which you so if you're watching this flight, which you're likely to be after the event, wonderful little flight to try, especially trying an ILS, manual ILS, with the Grand Caravan. Let's just get inside, make sure we're not missing anything. We're not. Still got 70 nautical miles to go. And I wish I knew more about the areas we're flying over. I believe it's just little towns and villages. There's nothing of significance, I hope, before coming into Luxembourg. Fascinating land, look at that. Actually looks quite different on the Series S, not in a bad way, than it did on my PC. It's a little bit more varied in many ways. Maybe it's just part... As you can see, we're past those stripy fields into this kind of now greenish swab area. Lovely. See, there we got a dark cloud to our right. High up here anyway. Looks like it might be a... gonna say rain cloud, but possibly not. I don't think the other clouds developed enough around it. And yeah, weather, has it improved with the last sim update? I don't know, I've got to retest that with... I mean, I find Rex incredibly accurate. Flight sim is good, it's just not accurate always. I've got to retest that. Clouds look similar. I have noticed in certain situations they do look more developed and voluptuous in many respects. More wispy, cloudy, I guess. But there we go. Is there anything I missed off? There's quite a few things I wanted to chat about while we were flying. Yeah, so basically, let's get back to that OBS settings. Yes, it's... that was a bit of a nightmare. I was thinking, okay, I've got this flight recorder. I knew it was going to be a big file recording with GeForce Experience. You're talking about a flight that takes an hour and 40 minutes. So I knew that file size would be gigantic. It was 30 gigabyte by the time it cut off. So if I did the whole flight, you'd be looking about 50, 60 gigabyte, which is huge, which I would have had to try and render into a smaller size, which is not always that easy to do, I found. And my recording, my movie studio software doesn't really shrink that file greatly. Whereas this, I'm hoping, will be more towards maybe around 10 gigabytes, so a big difference, with similar quality as well. There we go, passing some kind of... What is that? Must be some kind of memorial. Sure, is that a helipad, maybe? Huh. Interesting. See, all my passengers on board are hiding. I don't blame them. So, I mean, look, chaps, that's a Series S. I mean, if you didn't know, you could easily think that was PC. Easily. It's definitely improvements. It's been acting a little bit wacky, my Series S, since the last update. The map screen, for some reason, it's even more pernickety now. My yoke can sometimes set off my share button without me pressing my share button. It's a bit, it can act a bit wacky. I don't know if that's a known issue. Actually, chaps, for those of you who are flying on Xbox, have you noticed that your share button will just kick in spontaneously?
No, mine seems to be alright.
Oh. Could be a conflict with the velocity one again. It's good they fixed the sensitivities, which still don't have reactivity and extremity dead zone saving and goodness knows what. It's like pulling teeth sometimes. I mean, it's great. Okay, sensitivities are the main bulk of sensitivity section. I guess reactivity does make it a little bit more fluid, I found. It's...
I used to press the record button all the time on the controller.
Oh, is that on the Xbox controller?
Yeah. So the button in between the pause and the underneath the Xbox button.
Oh yeah, the share button.
Yeah, the share button. I used to press that all the time. I don't know if that's what you were talking about. Sorry, I was concentrating on the...
No, it's okay. No, basically, I don't have one on the velocity. Well, I do. It's down below, but I'm not pressing it. When I'm doing some kind of quick maneuver, so I'm doing a 180, for example, in a Cessna 172, the share button will just kick in without me pressing it.
Ah, right. So it's almost as if to say, oh, he's doing something acrobatic. I best record this.
Yeah. Could be that. It could be that, in fact. It could be to do with a setting that I've not looked at, perhaps. Yeah, it does say, do you want to record what just happened? It could be that, yeah. But it didn't happen before the sim update, so it's a little bit... Well, I'm kind of used to it with Flight Sim. They fix one thing and break another, to be honest. But, no complaints, really. Couldn't live without it.
Axis 5 is still broken on the hopper.
You didn't come through clearly there. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, Axis 5 is still broken on the hopper.
Oh, it's still broken?
Yeah, it sort of rapidly fluctuates between full and 0 when you press it.
Oh, right. That's a concern. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, we can sort that out, obviously, in the Discord chat there. I'll try to. I think we have tried to, haven't we? We've tried to help you with that. Oh, we're not far now. Let's just see. Let's just get down to our... See, it's funny, this COVID business, I would think... I guess it's because my mind is now occupied, but I don't feel that ill. I can feel myself burning up. And I just hope it's not the start of it worsening. I don't actually feel that bad, which is good. It just feels, I mean, I know other people who have had this, if it's the Omicron variant, and they say it's just like having a slight cold. So I'm hoping that's the case. Look, get more time off work, so expect lots more videos this week's, chaps. I'm going to try and, I like to be productive in my time. Unless I can't speak, of course, then that wouldn't work, but maybe I can do one or two things if I can't. More beautiful land, swaths of forest we're flying over now. Wonderful. Oh, look at that. So varied, this part of the world. Beautiful. And that, by the way, viewers at home, that's Rex... Oh, no, it's not. It's on Xbox. I keep making that mistake. No, ignore that. I was about to say it's Rex Accu season in play, because I'm typically playing on my PC. That's not. That's just standard shading within the trees there. I wonder if they've altered that. It's a lot better. Wow. Okay, so if we do get cloud, I'm back in cloud. If we do get cloud coming up to the approach, that's ideal, essentially, because we should be following the ILS more. So 52 nautical miles. Now, as you can see, the bottom, if you look at, I mean, I've got it. It may take you a little bit more time for those flying with me, be just behind me, but I've got 3 letters after the nav2 frequency now. That's not the frequency we're going to be worried about, but just to show you what kind of thing happens. So when we get nearer to Luxembourg, like I said, just watch out for the ILE, and then we can simply switch on to switch our CDI button over to lock 1. Not yet, though. There we go. Let's just see if my quick views are all working. It's fine. Lovely, lovely. This is just the right amount of people I wanted flying today too, so this is perfect. For the benefit of those watching the video, I want it to continue in the same vein, my Around the World series, but if I'm on Discord, if I'm going to do something like this, I'll invite people along. And I've got something hopefully interesting lined up from when we get into Germany, not in this video, in a future video. Future videos. There's things I really want to get into, which is partly the reason I started the Around the World flight series. My flights around the world in Flight Sim was really to bring in different aircraft but different techniques as well. I just think it's an interesting way to show them. Okay, 47 nautical miles. So what we can do, I'm going to decrease that range. Let's see, no. Mouse down. Yeah, 25 nautical miles out will do. So when that dot there, which is Luxembourg, comes within that circle, we should be essentially within range to switch to our lock 1, our nav 1. Very popular flight. I wonder where these chaps are off to our right. Quite interesting. No, yeah, I think there are 1 or 2 additions there, which is great. Maybe it's just me. Just see. Possibly, it might be a different group. Okay, we're all going... Oh, fine. Let's just concentrate now on this part. So it's been a hot minute, as the saying goes, since I've tried this manual ILS. When we get within range, chaps, come off your mute, basically, because I'll need you to talk you through it. It's been a hot minute. It's not difficult. The difficulty is trying to keep it all balanced, really. But, you know, within 10 nautical miles, 8 nautical miles, you can see the airport quite clearly because it's quite a prominent airport. So it shouldn't be too difficult, maybe within 5 or 6 nautical miles rather. beautiful. This is a type of flight. That's another reason I did this series. It's a type of flight I can just sit there and think, ugh. That's why I love flight simming. I mean, look at that. You can't beat that. Lovely, lovely. And it gives us an excuse, all of us, to fly somewhere different than London. So what are we? 30 should kick in imminently. I don't know what this on your right G1000. I don't know what all that must. Is that some kind of road network or? Oh, it's to the left of your aircraft. Basically, it's like a big spaghetti junction type thing. Let's just get outside and see if we can spot that. I don't know what it is. Is it forest or? No idea. Can't see it on the outside, but on the inside it looks quite prominent. On the map, at least. Not quite sure. Maybe somebody from that part of the world can fill us in later. So yeah, possibly... Sorry, we're almost there. I'll just chat a little bit longer. Possibly up to 5 or 6 days of this isolation, which I absolutely hate. I must get out. I mean, I'll probably go for walks because I live in a quiet place anyway. And wear a mask. I mean, it's a little bit different COVID nowadays. You know, it's a little bit more relaxed, thankfully. But I wouldn't forgive myself giving it to someone else. And I do live with a housemate as well. I'm trying to keep her safe. We're just sanitizing places and everything we use and just wearing masks around the house when we move about. Difficult one. Difficult. But I think the majority, if we look at the populations around the world, probably the majority of people have had it by now. Even if you haven't realised you've had it. Unfortunately. Right, how are we doing? 33, okay. Getting there. Imminent. So let's see, Disco Horse behind me. Oh. Hugh, are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay, I don't see you. You must be... You're behind Disco Dave, aren't you? And Huss there.
No, I'm behind Jack Custard.
Oh.
3,000 feet.
Second, well, where are you?
No, 3,400 actually.
Okay. Ah.
There's you, then Jack, then me, and then I think it's Disco Dave and Mark.
I wonder if you're right on top of me. Is that...
Mine.
Yeah, I don't see you. Oh well. Typical Xbox.
Yeah, he's definitely behind me.
Okay. So I'm sure you'll reappear.
Why are you missing me?
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't live without you. Okay, I'm just about to hit 30 nautical miles. I believe it's vertical. It might be 29. It's not 30. Very 30. Could be 29, 28, and if not, it'll be 25 before that. Before those letters come up after nav1. Okay, like I said, it's been a while since I've done this. Must be 25. That's okay. Any second. So what are your what are you chaps' ranges? You can see that on your left G1000 to the airport.
I believe mine's 43 nautical miles.
Yeah, I'm 44.4.
Good, I'm going to catch you landing. That's good.
44.5.
Right. Okay, you're all similar. Okay, so the letters have come up for me. ILE. Let's just zoom in. It's not very clear. Maybe it is for you. Not for my poor eyes. There you go. ILE. So I can essentially now switch. So when you see the letters ILE come up next to the second number on your nav one, which I discussed before, just click CDI button. And as I showed you before, that's block 1, that's nav 1 essentially. So GPS is kicked off. I'm going to switch it into heading mode, because like I said, and I put my heading bug here to the east. Like I said, I want to draw this line, so it's a green line, by the way, when you go to nav 1. I want to draw that line into the centre. And at over 20 nautical miles out, it doesn't really kick in until under 20, where the line starts moving. You can see we got a G up here, but no glide slope indicator yet. That'll be around 20. So all looking good. Just gonna pull back my throttle slightly, maybe get to around 160 knots, just for preparation of slowing that down further. There we are. Slowing down a bit more, but that's fine. It's under autopilot control. Now, yeah, I've done this a number of times. I'm not worried. Like I said, under 20 nautical miles, you start to see the various things happening on the display here. There you go. Glide slope indicator is live. And hopefully we're just waiting for that green line to move inwards. Yeah, there you go, it's moving inwards. So I'm just going to move my heading indicator back towards the sort of arrow part of that green line. To catch that line moving inwards, I want to keep it in the centre. All in heading mode, it's easy enough to do in heading mode. Slight adjustments with the heading indicator. Still lots of time. Lots of time. Probably around 6-7 nautical miles I'll start to throttle back and get to flaps 1 and autopilot. There you go. Okay, I need to come to my left with the heading indicator, left of that arrowhead, just to get that back centered again. Once it's roughly centered, I'm going to leave it there. That's fine. Can't see the airport yet. It's okay. I'm going to concentrate on this screen. So I want to see that glide slope indicator start moving down. In fact, glide slope indicator is going to start moving down sooner. So I want to get my RPM down now, basically. Before the glide slope indicator starts coming down. I want to get me down to flaps 1, which I'm near enough anyway. Didn't realise how close I was. It's about 126, 27. Anywhere near that mark, you can go to flaps 1, which 128, 127. There we go. I'm in flaps 1. That will slow me down a little bit more. All under autopilot. That green line's moving away from my centre again, so I'm just going to get it back into the centre. So basically this green line, even though it's pointing upwards, that's your horizontal bearing to the airport. If you got it lined up perfectly, you've got a perfect heading to the airport with that arrow pointing upwards, as you can see there on that green line. And you can get this line into the centre. It means, like I said, just means you've got a perfect approach to the runway. As long as you have the right frequency, and you can see it's all turned green. Are you all okay, chaps, with that?
We'll
Yeah, I
work
think
it
that
out.
should be alright.
We'll work it out somehow.
Okay.
Did you press approach at any point?
No, you don't need to
James?
on this. Not with manual ILS. No.
No.
No, stay away from approach. In fact, if you're doing a manual ILS. So there we go. I got that green line pretty much centered there. I'm trying to get it so it doesn't move either left or right, which is roughly there. I am using heading mode there, so slightly cheating the system, but it's not until we get closer we can take autopilot off. There's a runway right there, so I've got a visual on the runway. Just waiting for that glide slope indicator to move down. So if it's above us, we're let me just think there now. Above us is below, and below us is above, I believe, the glide slope. I'll explain that more when we get into chasing that green diamond. This one here on the G. So it's the right display underneath your speed base, underneath your altitude. Sorry, to the right of your altitude, left of your altitude. So this should be fine. It can all get very confusing because you're chasing lines left, right, and centre, but just try and keep them all centred, essentially. Is the best way I can explain it. The green line's moved out of centre position again. So I'll just move my heading bug slightly to the left there. As you can see, all the time in the world, the glide slope indicator's not moving down yet, but it will do any second. So it's a manual ILS with autopilot assistance with the heading indicator. In fact, the glide slope indicator is moving down, so I'm soon going to take it off autopilot. Give you that view. There we go, just keep it all centered. Okay, soon take it off. So we're below the glide slope now. So just waiting for that to come down to the center. And then we'll be on the glide slope where that green diamond hits. In fact, I can keep it in this view for now. Probably be easier. Take it off autopilot and let's do actually so I can see a little bit of the outside world. So I'll just come to my right, back to my right. I'm full manual control now. Decrease my autopilot so I descend and follow that green diamond down. Not too much that green diamond will shoot back ahead of us again if we're not careful. Got a visual on the runway, I'm not too worried about that. When we get in front of the runway, I'll go to flaps 2. So I need to bank to my left. And even if you could see the runway in front of you and you think you're lined up for it, follow the glide slope indicator because it shows that it pretty much lines up with the center line of the runway. I need to increase my throttle a bit because glide slope indicator's going above me whilst moving banking left to follow that line, the horizontal bearing. Pretty much exactly the same as a Cessna 172. And if you have the airport in front of you, there's definitely no, if you have it in visual, there's definitely no need to panic because you can always just fully manual the landing there if you need to, but for this one we're following the glide slope. Where is that runway? It's disappeared, hasn't it? Ah, it's right there. Disappeared. Ha! Right in front of me. Wasn't paying attention, so I need to bank to the right now. And I'm not paying attention to my glide slope indicator either, so just to show you, I can still chase it and bring it back to center just by increasing my altitude there. Slowly. Small movements with the throttle. Once I see it move into center, just try and chase it and keep it in the center. Easier said than done. Runway is right there. Nope, don't know. I want to increase my throttle there, not decrease it. Can get a little bit confusing. Now, get those off. That's putting me off. And quite clearly now I've got a visual of the runway, but I'm still trying to follow somewhat that at least the altitude indicator, the glide slope indicator, needs to come to the right there. Just go flaps 2 while I can. Are you all okay, chaps? And then increase the throttle.
Yep, just following the green ball.
Okay. I've got a very strange shadow in front of me there. I'm not sure what that was. Okay, a bit messy on my part, but as you can see, well, quite messy. Well off the centre line again. As you can see, it's just a matter of following that glide slope down. You've got the runway in view there, so then you can just simply go and do a landing. There you go, bring in that glide slope indicator. Once you get nearer to the runway, it does get very fidgety, very sensitive. Still way up the bloody centre line there, but never mind. Doing a sort of diagonal landing for some reason. Never mind. That's the idea, that's the principles. Wasn't perfect, but you have to do. And I can just... It's lovely to see the velocity 1 settings, sensitivity settings in play there. You saw how smooth that was. Stick on that. Because I do want to get outside and see some of you chaps come down. Okay, COVID's kicking a little bit more now. I'm getting that kind of nasally. If you can hear the nasal congestion, it's just happened, so we'll just have to put up with it. Hopefully you won't be able to hear it too much. Okay, so we've got Dave there coming in. Yeah, for those watching at home, it wasn't the best approach I've done on the manual ILS. Could still see the runway, still following the things. I mean, ideally keep all those things centered. It's difficult to do when you're talking and then making a video and ensuring other people are okay too. It's not the easiest thing to do, full stop, unless you've got full concentration, to be honest. But that's the principle. And once you got the runway in sight, like I did there, you know, if I was in terrible weather, I would have really had to concentrate and just bring it down the best I could. How far are you, Dave?
Just 9 nautical miles.
Okay, very close then. Yeah. And how about the rest of you? Because I've only seen Dave there for some reason.
8 nautical miles for me.
Oh. Very strange. I don't know what's going on. I can't see you, Hugh. Maybe I'll see you when you come down, but... Ugh. Yeah, I think I can see Dave slowly coming in there. Now, do I have drones set up on my Xbox? I don't believe. No. It's quite a busy, nice little airport, Luxembourg. Quite a popular place from the looks of things, lots of people around. And the place I've not flown around much, Luxembourg. Apparently it's got some good updates in it, and very famous buildings. So everybody's deep in concentration there, I can hear.
You put us under pressure here, you know.
That's the idea of it. But how are you finding it generally?
Yep, it's good for me.
Okay, great. Shouldn't put people off when they're doing that, so there you are. Yeah, still only see Dave up there. It's, not quite sure what's going on.
Just coming into land. What's it called? Short final.
Maybe I'll see you land. Hopefully I'll see an aircraft land. I've not changed any settings with the Xbox, so should be seeing all players. I'm still seeing name tags, but only select, I'm afraid. See Dave's altitude descending there, that's good.
I'm right in front of you, James, looking into your cockpit.
Right, okay. Strange, I do not see you at all.
Yeah, please.
Ah,
I see everyone else. See Disco Dave coming in now.
yeah. It's concerning, isn't it?
Never mind. And then Jack's just pulled up next to me. Do you see him?
No, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to quickly change a setting. I'll just come back to it. That's interesting.
Well, we made it.
Great, well done. Well done. I wish I could capture some of that, but it just wouldn't.
Yeah, well done, Jack. That was excellent.
Yeah. Display all label. That's not it. Okay, let's just try and come back and see if that works. No, it's not. No, we're just gonna have to. I'll have to figure that out another day, I'm afraid.
I think I'm having an issue with my in-flight computer getting it, like, so following the
Nice landing, Dave. By the way, yeah.
the descending, basically.
All right.
I think I've got it stuck in altitude
Speak now.
mode.
Could be. Could be. Yeah, you could just have it. Yeah. You might just have had autopilot still turned on. Speaking of that, chaps, if you want to go back to your CDI button on your left G1000 and click that twice, you'll get back to your GPS, or you get back to basically GPS showing in the center there of your G1000. We're just going to increase our altitude So, sorry, what was somebody... Let's not pass by that. What was somebody saying about the... You said it was stuck in altitude mode.
Yeah. So basically, when I was coming down, then I think I had to change it into vertical speed,
Oh,
so I could adjust it to come down that way.
right. Definitely sounds like autopilot was still on there, perhaps. Somehow.
Yeah, I took it off the last minute and managed to get down
Oh, brilliant.
safely.
Oh, that's brilliant. So, chaps, we're going to increase our altitude to 4,000 feet there, and just make sure that your CDI bus is back on GPS. In the centre there, you've got GPS showing in pink, purple. And I've got enough room there to throttle up and take straight off again, I believe. So that's what I'm going to do. Take off in the direction we landed. The powerhouse the Grand Caravan is, we don't need much room to take off, thankfully. So there we go, up in the air. Don't need to even trim much with the Caravan, I've noticed.
The mark went up and down and up,
Oh. No,
and then down
I
again.
bounced.
just make sure when you press your autopilot that you got it in GPS mode, not heading mode, because you'll be following your heading otherwise. What, you went up and down, Hugh? So you crashed it, you mean?
No, not
Yeah,
me. Not me. That would be Mark.
that was me.
Oh dear. Ah. I will respawn quickly and follow us on. It's if you got the code there, ELLX. And this is where we start to see some absolute stunning scenery, some of the best scenery we've seen yet on this flight. Some little towns, villages, and forests. Lots of big forests around here too. So there we go, we're climbing to our 4,000 feet altitude. And of course, yeah, we need to switch our nav now, so we need that 110.95 as our active nav now, so you just use your swap nav button. Ah. Now. There's the difficulty. What I'm going to do, chaps, I'm just going to cycle the CDI to nav 1. Then I'm going to swap the nav over. Click my CDI twice again to get back into GPS mode. Bit of a messy way of doing it, but it equals pretty much the same thing. Did you all follow that?
Yep.
Right. Yeah, basically it stays on the last nav setting that you cycled through, so it'll stay on nav 2, as you can see there. But not to worry, because that nav 1 that we just swapped over will become our active nav once we go to lock 1 again. You can use nav 1 or nav 2, by the way, I just prefer to use nav 1. It's probably a much cleaner way of doing that, but like I said, it does the same thing. There we go, flying over lots of lovely hilly areas. Now, this is a part... Sorry, just bear with me 1 second. So this is a part where we start to see a ton of wind farms, goodness knows what. Or this part going into Germany, anyway. And we'll do a quick check. We've got... It's a shorter journey, this one. We've got 85 nautical miles. So it's not going to take us too long to get there, thankfully. 84 knots. Bit of a gift for you here now, Hugh. We're not going to use manual ILS again. I want to show people how you can also do it all autopilot once you've got that frequency dialed in. Which
Good man.
you probably know about, anyway.
Yes, yes, yes.
Got different shades, different colours. Lovely, lovely. Look at the scenery now. And it's undulating scenery, which I like as well. Lots of hilly areas and... Lovely. Absolutely lovely. Little towns, villages. Does anybody know what that river is? Is that the River Rhine, you know? Or are we in the wrong part of Germany for that? Forgive my ignorance of German geography, I just don't know.
It's the Moselle,
Ah, fantastic.
and it's a Luxembourg-German border.
Ah, wow, right. I'm gonna get shot for that, but you know, like I said, I've not actually been, never been to Germany.
That
Don't
was one
believe.
I just crossed over, so...
Right. But we're going to be flying, going into Luxembourg, lots of built-up areas. It's starting to build up for me now, as you can see. Lots of built-up areas. Like I say...
I'm right in thinking that Luxembourg is tiny, isn't it? Am I thinking of the right place? It's a really small country.
I believe so, yeah, it can fit in these... Yeah. What was I watching? I was watching a documentary the other day. It's about if a certain strait got blocked. It's a strait in the Gulf area. If that got blocked, it would play havoc on the world economics, basically. And I was saying that Luxembourg could fit inside it, and it was about 30 miles across or something. Now, I could be wrong with that.
Yeah, it's similar to the Vatican City. It's you know, obviously it's probably bigger than the Vatican City, but it's a similar municipality, I believe, as a country.
Wow. Huh. It's quite a wealthy place, Luxembourg, isn't it? It's quite an affluent place. Like I said, it's one of the areas I would love to take a Cessna 172 and just fly around, especially after this world update, and see a few of the sights down there. But there we go, lots of built-up little towns. Yeah, forgive me for anybody watching this. I do have brain fog at the moment, so my memory is not going to recall certain things. But here's the start of the wind farms coming in, and these are a feature leading all the way into Frankfurt. So there we go. You can see a few there and think, okay, that's quite impressive. As we go further along, you'll see there's a lot more coming up. Lovely to see. You can see the shadows there. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, let's pop back inside the cockpit, check on our progress, 73 nautical miles out. How's our prop doing there? Now, I've not touched the props, that should be okay. Should have put that full rich maybe, but never mind, that's fine. Oh, wow. Stunning. There you go, there's more wind farms. I did tell you this is like the wind farm capital, really. There you go, there's more there, there's more coming up there. Let's just see if we can spot any more. Yeah, they are literally all over the place in this area. There we go, there's a lot more coming up at this point. Just check on our altitude there. I believe 4,000 was enough. It does start, it seems like the ground's coming up to meet us at a certain point. But don't worry, once we get to Frankfurt, it does seem to lower again. Got a whole stack of wind farms. So this is I mean, I don't know about you chaps flying this, but this kind of flight is heaven to me. It's just flying along. Yeah, under autopilot, sometimes manual like we did there. But it's flying along and discovering and looking out of the in the external view. Wonderful. Spotting all the little towns and villages, and this part's just incredible. Look at it. There we go, more wind farms. Oh dear. It's great to see. I think they've really embraced solar power over there, or natural power, should we say, in Germany. Which is lovely to see. Oh, stunning. What do you think, chaps? What do you think of this route?
That's a nice little route, yeah, it's good.
There we go, even more wind farms in the distance there. Sorry, sir.
Well, I'm meant to be sat doing my homework with my daughter, and we're both sat here watching the World Cup.
Oh, great. I hope she doesn't get in trouble for it.
I'm sure she'll be alright.
Yeah. I did actually read on something, it was a discussion on TV where they're saying that they should ban homework. I mean, I always had homework when I was younger. And it was wickedly... There was wicked amounts of it at one point where you would stress out about it. But they're talking about doing away with homework altogether for children.
The problem with it is if it doesn't get marked and you don't get any feedback, it's pointless.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as you're getting feedback on it, then it's okay, I think.
And I'm sure we're all similar ages. There was a point in school where they gave us homework to keep us out of trouble, I'm pretty convinced. You know, to make sure that
never worked with me.
No. Yeah, there's even more. There's another bank of wind farms there. So like I said, this is possibly the most wind farms I've seen mounted in one area that I've flown over in Flight Simulator so far. There we go, so we got a hill. We're just going to make this hill. We should be okay at our current altitude, but once we pass over these little hills, going into Frankfurt, the ground goes downwards again. Or the elevation goes downwards, like I said. Forgive me, I do have brain fog. It's becoming more and more built up, more and more beautiful. Wonderful. Okay, so on this one, chaps, just to show you a different use for putting in an ILS frequency, you should have as active 110.95 in nav 1 or nav 2, but that should be your active. You will see the letters IFSE pop up once we get nearer to Frankfurt. We can go full autopilot on that. We'll still encourage the heading mode. We'll switch it over to, in my case, nav 1 again. We'll encourage the horizontal bearing to come inwards, so that line, for the people watching at home, that line, which will be here, to come inwards, and it will be green. For that to join us. We'll encourage that with heading mode again, so let me just move my heading knob back towards the east there. Heading indicator. But once that happens, once the glide slope indicator starts to move down, we can just click approach, and it should work fine. Are you all okay with that theory?
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can do that at any point. You can either do a manual ILS if it's not going right, click on approach, and you know it will auto correct it for you. Then you can take back over again. So it's a good way of practicing, to some extent, manual ILS as well. Of course, under full autopilot, it's just your speed you need to configure. Then, so very simple. Right, 51 nautical miles out. And, yeah, okay, it's a shame that people disappeared from my view. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I don't know. It's just one of those things with the Xbox, I guess. Or PC, Flight Simulator in general. Even though people have disappeared from view, you can still hear people. You can still hear people sharing their experience, which is what it's all about. Try and get that fixed for the next flight. Did we lose a person, by the way? Yeah, there's only 4 people here now. Oh. Hugh. He's disappeared. Oh, well, I thought so. Oh, there we are. Did you have a crash to desktop, Hugh?
No, I did not. I went to the bathroom.
Oh, right, okay. Okay.
I don't know why. So I've been having issues with Discord for the last couple of days where it kicks me out and I have to get back in. I don't know what happens.
Ah.
Weird, eh?
Strange things happening, yeah. So we're even more lovely green shades and different kinds of fields in Germany. Different structures and land masses, and even the trees on the Xbox there look quite different as well. They're different shades. All very lovely. Come down to our... see how far we got to go. Still 45 nautical miles. Nice, relaxing arrival into Frankfurt for us. See some very German names ahead of me there. There we are. Like I say, going forward with this series, what I do want to do, like I said, not just throughout the series, in fact, I've tried different techniques. I've even used the multi-panel to control the whole flight completely with the multi-panel at one point. That was a couple of videos back. I'll try and link that in the top right for you. Trying different techniques, different aircraft, but I do have a sort of ultimate or certain routes I really want to try with certain aircraft. I won't spoil anything yet, but it's more to bring in. It's more like showing with other videos. I'm just showing basic techniques with flights or some more advanced in very similar aircraft. This is a way of actually broadening my horizon with different aircraft. And broadening the horizon with the world, in fact, seeing different parts of the world. I wouldn't normally fly over this part of the world if I wasn't doing this route. If I hadn't thought of doing this route, it wouldn't be a route that I would think about doing. So certainly good in that respect. And I did get quite a lot of comments saying when you're going to do your next video. I didn't think they were that popular, the around the world flights. I just thought I started it and thought, oh, okay, didn't really take off, pardon the pun, when I first released them. Didn't do too well, and I thought, okay, people maybe are not interested in that, so I'll switch subjects or try something different. But then after a while, which tends to happen, you know, you get people digging into the videos and watching them and saying, yeah, show some more. So that's why I'm doing these. Let me know down in the comments if you do enjoy them and do want to see more. Feedback like that is essential. Then I know I'm moving in the right direction and I'm making videos that people want to see, essentially. Uh, 35 nautical miles, not too bad. Good, we had that cloud cover for the majority of the flights, or some clouds in the sky rather. For pretty much all the flight. Like I said last time, it was just pure, crystal clear skies last time we tried this. I'm hoping, beyond hope, that this time it's recorded as well. I'm not doing it a third time. Well, I'll probably have to, but there you go. There you go. Some little towns and villages down here, so more and more built up the closer we get. And this is all the German word update, a part of the German word update. German and Austria. Or Germany and Austria, rather. That's interesting. Is that an airport on the... No, it's just after I thought it was an airport in the forest for a second. So there we go, 29. So any time now we should start to see once again the letters come up after our nav here, nav numbers. So we should see in this case IFSE. Looks to be around 25 nautical miles, which is okay. But is that Frankfurt ahead of us there? Nope. Yeah, that would show up yet. It doesn't show up till 25 nautical miles out. And again, you can see different codes with the nav2, which we're not using, but you can see a different code has come up there. It means an airport is close by, within range of that ILS frequency. There we go. IFSCs. It's up. So we could switch that now to CDI 2, and in this case, I can predominantly stay in this view, switch it to heading mode to encourage that line to come in, but we're a bit far from it. So we get to around 20 nautical miles out. You don't really see any movement with the lines and glide slope indicator and goodness knows what. I will throttle back ever so slightly. Are you chaps okay? How far are you out? Absolutely lovely. Look at that.
I'm just past 35
Okay.
nautical miles.
I'm similar as well.
So you're all quite close, which is great. Stunning looking default scenery. Oh, in default, but world update scenery, it's still default. Oh yeah, that's something else. The whole problem I had with the marketplace being grayed out, that video, was buying London City Airport. Yeah, I bought it because I've got the Steam version, bought it with Steam credits, which is the way you have to do it. Locked me out, caused all that issues for me, but I've still not installed it on the PC yet. So watch out for a video on that London City to see if it's worth your time. It's pretty much twice the cost and twice the size, interestingly, of London landmarks. I'm quite intrigued. Because I fly there a lot, it just makes perfect sense for me to review that. So, 156 nautical miles. See, the green line is moving in. I'm going to wait till the glide slope indicator starts to move down. I'm going to go to my center panel above the right G1000. And to the left there's an approach button. Not going to click it yet. Just going to wait till that glide slope indicator starts moving down. Well, I guess you could click it now, but just prefer to wait for the indicator to start moving downwards. Then we know we're locked on properly, and it's click and forget, essentially. So once you have the code, the ILS frequency dialed into your nav, this is another option. If you don't want to do an ILS landing, do pretty much a full autopilot landing. As long as you're heading towards the airport, you don't even need to coax the horizontal bearing in. I'm just doing it because then it saves the autopilot doing too much work. Just swing the aircraft left and right so much. Okay, I'll bring my throttle down probably close to... Well, how far are we? Yeah, we're still a distance out. I don't need to. 140 will do for now. That's another reason I'm coaxing it in, to give me something to do before the glide slope indicator starts moving down, and then, like I said, it's click and forget. Left, left, left. And I think it's probably a particular type of person who enjoys these videos. You want that kind of relaxing, long flights, which is I'm always up for doing. So they are a pleasure to make, but I do need feedback on whether you like them and you want to see more of them, basically, just so we're all on the same page. Just so I know I'm moving. You know, there's only so much limited time I have. I've got a lot more time on my hands this week, of course, but that's a different... That's a different subject. Well, that's a different matter. Right, okay. So I've got that. So I'm just toying around with my heading indicator. Just to give myself something to do, keep myself busy. I can switch it to approach mode. It should lock on once the glide slope indicator comes down. I think that's the proper procedure. Wait for it to come down towards the centre, then click approach. And then it doesn't miss it, because there's a chance that the glide slope, the approach button will miss your glide slope if you don't press it within a certain sort of time frame. Or parameters. There we go. Glide slope indicator slowly moving down. I'll wait till it gets to that point. There. That dot. Near to the centre. That's just the way I do it. If you see it moving down, you can pretty much click it now, in fact. It's already sort of locking onto it. Right, okay, let's click the approach button. Approach armed. You should see GS come up here. Once it's locked on, once that indicator comes right to the centre, that GS there will turn green. That's when you fully know you're locked onto the glide slope. And you'll also see your aircraft descending towards the runway. Slowly. I'll leave my throttle where it is, because, yeah. long way out. 11 nautical miles. There you go. Glide slope indicators turn fully green. We're locked onto the glide slope. It's descending. The autopilot's descending and controlling our glide slope into the airport. Or approach into the airport. Must be that runway there, is it? Yep, it is. It's the right runway, isn't it? 7 right, yep. Are you all okay, chaps?
Yep, I am.
Great.
I think so.
Okay. Well, you do explain, because that's some of the ideas of you coming along, so I can explain these things.
So I've got I believe I'm aiming towards the 11095 nav IFSE. I've got
Yeah.
that up on my screen.
Yeah.
And I'm just aiming for the green arrow on my compass. Is that right, or should I be aiming for the lock 1 bug?
The lock 1. So yeah, go into lock 1, and you just want that center section of that green line to join in with the others, with the green arrow pointing upwards. If that makes sense. So that center section, you want that right in the center. Usually, either you do it manually. In fact, do you have heading mode? You could use heading mode. It's a little bit more complex in the buttons are a different layout in the Grand Caravan, but there is a heading mode in the center, yeah, right at the left there, and the heading knob below it. So you can use your heading mode to move that blue knob on your compass display. Sorry.
Well, I was in heading mode, but the inner green line wasn't lined up with the actual arrow, so I'm gonna manually pull across.
Okay, yeah.
And get that lined up.
Yeah. Once that glide slope indicator comes down, just oh, hang on a second. I wasn't concentrating. I didn't go to flaps, did I? Oh dear. Pulling my throttle way back, just to get down to flap speed again. Not too much that the aircraft's going to fall from the sky. There we go. Covered from that. Flaps 1. Now just increase that.
I absolutely just broke.
Yep.
Oops.
Something broke. Doesn't sound good. Right, so we're getting towards that. Now we're slowing down at a rapid rate. Let's try and keep it around 70, 80 knots. That's okay. Only in flaps 1, I believe. Yeah. Ah, beautiful. Look at those forests around the airport. Ah, I just want to stay in the outside view. Absolutely stunning here.
Right. Well, I've got the line lined up.
Yeah.
That's made a bit more sense.
Okay.
Should I have alt mode turned off? Alt mode turned off. Sorry.
Altitude. Yeah. Yes. I'm not quite sure what you've done there. Altitude mode.
But I always seem to turn it on.
Oh, see. Yeah. Well, yeah. As long as the glide slope indicator moves downwards, you should be able to still click on the. As long as you're in autopilot, click on the approach button. It still should lock on.
Right. Okay.
It overrides anything basically once you go into approach mode, as long as you got the diamond. Right, flaps 2 there.
Yeah, the diamonds, everything. We're all lined up. That makes a bit more sense now.
Great. You'll see after I release the video. You see what I did precisely. But no, it sounds like you got it anyway. Doesn't really matter. Sounds like you've done well. So I'll stay around 70 knots for the landing and just take it off autopilot once I'm pretty much over the runway. And bring it down. Or if you're daring, you can let it land, but it'll just plonk you on the runway. So there we go, autopilot off. Decrease the throttle, I'm over the runway. Straighten it up a little bit. It's really centre line, was it not? Perfectly, but near enough. Oh, sensitivities now. Incredible. I think they've done something with general handling of the aircraft. It just feels a lot easier now. to fly a lot more fluid, not so much easier. Right. There we go. So we're landed, we're down. Just wait for the other chaps coming in, and we shall end this flight. So Dave, I'm going to wait for you to come in on this one. There's no rush.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be dropping my altitude with the altitude book at all.
Oh, no, you want to go into heading mode now. So approach mode, rather. Sorry, approach mode. So if you look in that center...
Yeah, I'm on that.
Oh, you're on approach mode. Is the diamond moving down, or is it moving... Has it gone past the center now?
The diamond's moving down, but I'm not going with it.
Oh. Any ideas, chaps? Are you in autopilot?
Yeah.
The green diamond is in the middle of the panel. Like the two lights, like 2 circles above, 2 circles below. Because if it's not, it won't drop down yet.
No, it's gone down. I'm not going with it. It's gone.
Ah. Yeah, I'm not sure. There's something... I wonder if there's a conflict.
He's not picking up the... He's not picking up the glide slope, right? So it means he's not... I don't think it's being activated. Or it's not being pressed. Oh, it is being pressed, but it's not showing up. Did you get a white GS in the top of your...
I know what's happened.
Oh, there you go.
That's okay. It's all about practice and learning. Don't worry about it. We've all been there. Oh, is that someone else from Discord I see there? Maybe it's just another person coming into land. I see Disco Dave coming in. Racing Dan, maybe. Heinberg, he's definitely from our Discord as well, isn't he? But I think he's flying somewhere else. Could be a different Heinberger. You remember Heinberger, Hugh? Heinberg?
Yeah, Heisenberg, yeah.
Heisenberg?
Heinberg. There's only 3 of us in here now. Me, Jack and Dave.
Right. That's okay.
Yeah.
For these types of flights, yeah, for these types of flights going forward, that's a perfect number because, you know, it's more predominantly for the viewer. These types of flight live streams are for the people joining in, if that makes sense. It's more about what we're doing rather than the activity.
Yeah, I get you.
I'm sure that makes sense to somebody. To my foggy brain, it makes sense. Beautiful day. So, who has it on live time?
I've got.
Go on, sorry.
I turned live time off to just so that my daughter could see.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's nice. We've got families watching. That's great. It's good to hear. It's great to hear girls getting involved with it too. I know there are a few women who do like to fly, of course, but you mainly hear men, don't you? Especially in live flights and goodness knows what. Live streams.
Kind of dusk. It's quite nice, though, to be honest, in live time.
Wow. Great. That's brilliant. Yeah, I always get the comments now, and it always humbles me and think, wow, that's just, you know, you get the people who are learning to fly or were flying at one point, and then they're learning the sim through my videos. I'm thinking, wow, you know, that's like the biggest honour people can give you, really. Where I'm quite the opposite. I'm not learning to fly in real life. I'm just simming. But that's a huge honour.
Actually, I take that back, James. It wasn't dusk. I'd changed my time because it was going too dark. It's actually pitch black on real time, so never mind.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. But now, ideally, for the purpose of people watching this, it's now 7 PM. I was trying to get it ready for 3 PM, but I couldn't download the German update properly. It just kept resetting on my Xbox. It sometimes happens with my flight sim and other people's flight sims, to be fair. So we started a bit later, but we managed. That's all good. Adventurous flights from here onwards. And like I said, I've got a good idea of where I want to go next, so stay tuned for that.
Well, I'm just fully manual.
Okay.
I can't get it. I'm going to have to work out what's going on with it not letting the altitude drop, not dropping that automatically.
Oh, dear.
Bizarre.
Hey, how's that, chaps? I've just got a fault of gravity warning. It's the only one I mean, we're in I guess you could say it's quite a busy place that I've not got my control. I've locked out. Chaps, I'm going to finish the video there because I'm actually locked out of the sim now. I can't move my mouse or my gamepad. So there's a couple of issues with my Series S. Let me know down below if you're having similar. Listen, thank you very much for joining me, people who joined me there. For people watching, yep, give the video a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. Let me know down below if this is the type of video you want to see, because people have been asking for them. Let me know, please. And I'll see you soon.
Nice landing, Jack.